Hey, brother, how's it going, man?
Doing well, thank you.
That's good, man. That's good. So, let's get things started, man. First things first, man. How are you doing, man? How's it going?
I'm great, man. Can't complain, honestly. Working on a bunch of new music and trying to keep healthy. Can't complain. How about you?
Ah, same old, man. Just keep grinding the whole, podcast game. Trying to do this one day at a time. A lot of interviews, man. A lot of interviews, and I cannot be ever more grateful than that, man.
Yeah, I was watching a lot of them on your YouTube channel. Actually, a lot of them are like really interesting. Some of the stories these
Really,
actors and other people have to say like about just their stories. But yeah,
man.
great work.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I really do, man. Like, if you have any other feedback about them, don't ever hesitate to slide in the DMs and let me know. Man. I appreciate it. So far, you say that you're watching some of my episodes. What has been the one that has been standing out to you the most that you enjoyed it very thoroughly?
So the few episodes that I watched was I watched one with Goon, one of my friends, Max, the one with Destroya,
Yeah,
the guy who owns the Kaiju Pit Collective.
yeah.
How he was talking about what I found really interesting was how he was talking about creating his sets and like only putting really underground producers that he believes deserve recognition and
Mm-hmm.
sets and things like that. I really respect like his whole way of going about that and what he's doing because before that I never heard of him, and then when I saw that it just like damn, I appreciate like what people are actually doing out there for the underground scene.
Yeah.
So
And that's just like one scene in particular. I think he's from Texas. I don't recall if.
I think he said Dallas in the video. Yeah,
Oh, okay, then yeah. So
yeah,
and that's the thing that's like one scene itself, and then he's handling that that whole area itself. Imagine what we
yeah.
could accomplish if we all actually do it on every other state. Like if there
Yeah,
was
that
some
would be a
sort of
dream.
a Florida collective or something that that can unify, and then everybody's just playing only the Florida's music. People, that elevates everybody all together. Because everybody's playing everybody. Everybody's getting recognized. Recognition right there. So that whole kaiju pit that he's doing like I admire it a lot, and I'm very grateful that he actually has is doing that, because like you barely get to see that very often. And obviously that's just the one that he owns.
Mhm.
He and I were both on our own collectives from other people from LA, like the Grocery Boys. Like those guys only play music that is only being made within their collective. And if you are homies with him, even though you're outside of the collectives, but you're still homies outside of it, then they'll play it too. They don't play any other music that is not outside of their realm or their circle, basically.
I mean, saying stuff like that, it's like kind of a family within the music scene.
Yeah.
And saying stuff like that, it's really cool. I've been a part few collectives, but unfortunately, they did not really continue on into the actual music collective part. But everyone still talks in there. We're still friends. Like there was a small collective made by an ex dubstep producer. His name was Mad Reckless. He made like songs with Riot 10 in the past. He's a great producer, man, but he switched genres to which genre he's producing now. But that's still, his collective is still around, which is called Reckless Sphere. And everyone in there, we all got to know each other 2 years, 2.5 years, and we're all homies now. But that's more of like a close knit like group, but it's not really like an active collective much anymore.
Really, man, that sucks, man. And I feel you on that, because I've been on a few collectives here, either here in South Florida or in my hometown in Puerto Rico.
Mhm.
We try to elevate those type of collectives, but I guess it's the consistency. Like not everybody is as consistent as they wanted to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard, like getting that consistency from like a full group of people. It's not an easy thing to like sustain. So
I mean, in
yeah.
theory, it makes sense. In theory, like on paper, like it makes sense that if one releases, then you got like 100 people, following it and liking it, and everybody get to see it, and then you got that organic growth, people will want to fuck with it. But when you try to apply to it in real life, practically, it's harder than you think, you know? So it's like, so I give my props to those guys who actually maintain that whole collective and kept it going, you know? It just shows them, you know, how much they really work hard to get to that, you know, that name, that recognition factor out there. And then at the same time, helping others as well to get big as well.
Yeah, no, it's great. Like, I think, like, especially the collective I was a part of and still am, like, totally grateful for everything they've done. Like, still a bunch of good friends in there. Everyone still talks in there, hypes each other up on social media and stuff like that. But I am sad it couldn't have gotten taken to the next level.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes these collectives, it really, really needs, you need to treat a collective as if you were building a label, basically.
Yeah.
Because essentially, it's almost the same thing, except that the label part, in which, like, oh yeah, we have to split shares with your songs, you know. But everything else is just relatively the same, you know, that the thumbnails, the promotion, marketing, you know, the song, follow to download, and all that crap. Everything else is just the same, you know.
It's like a 50-person joint label. Everyone's a label manager.
Yeah, exactly, basically, and until you get somebody who actually has experience that is willing to, you know, invest on it for free, because in turns you will be doing this all for favors, you know. You're not getting much of it except for that recognition, you know, it's good to start off. I mean, if you want to start off with something, you know, you know, and then you guys work your way up until you actually see some real money involved, then, you know, that's where things get like, oh shit, we're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah, I definitely get that.
Yeah, like, so has any of those moments that you were part of the collective, have they ever, like, help you out or improve your recognition here in South Florida?
So there's a long story to that I'll probably explain better in another question, but the answer is yes to that question.
Okay.
Because not exactly in the actual recognition wise category, but the people I met in that collective, like, I keep up with them, and I believe that having like just like talking to these people, like what I've learned from them, and just like how we've been keeping up throughout the years. People give feedback to each other in there, and I wouldn't go as far as saying recognition, but I would say more as just good music friends, and like good people to really chat with in the music business. And like that show, funny enough, that I met you at.
Yeah.
One of the guys from the collective that I never met in person before, I met there that night. And like after like 2 years of like talking, his name
wow.
Control Q. I don't know if you know that guy, but
yeah, I
met him at the show, and it's pretty cool.
That's dope. That Control Cube, and he had another friend that they're big homies. Well, I'm sorry, I'm bad with names, but yeah, I interviewed him and his homie right there in that day where we met. You know.
Oh, that's awesome! Yeah, I Control Q is the homie.
Yeah, sure. Damn. Well, that's actually pretty dope. So, how long you actually been active in this scene?
More or less about 4 years now. I've been active in the scene. 4 years, give or take. I started, I guess it is 2018.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I started off DJing mostly, but I had a residency in Tallahassee in 10 nightclub, if you know where that is, for about a year and a half. And then from there, I kind of just really dove into production, and the DJing side of things. It's interesting to me. It's fun to me, but I really love music production. That's something I've really been sticking to throughout that journey.
Damn. And Dan, so you are you originally from South Florida, or you're from Tallahassee?
Well, I am originally from South Florida, but I went to school in Tallahassee.
From FSU?
Yeah, for 4 years. So
okay.
I was there, and while I was there is actually when I kind of started things. I kind of got into that scene, DJed at events around the area.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much where things started.
What actually prompted you to actually do that thing? You say you were just tired of, DJing, and you actually wanted something new and passionate that you're ready for the challenge, or, what actually say like, okay, I'm doing this and I'm going to pursue this?
Like pursuing production, like making music.
Yeah. Like what actually made you thought like, DJ is cool and whatnot, but then I'm doing production. That's what I want. That's what I feel like I want that.
I've always been a musician because in my past I've been playing the piano for I don't know how many years, 14 years or something.
Okay.
Something like that. So music has always interested me from the beginning. Like when it came to switching from DJing to actually producing music, I thought to myself like, okay, this looks impossible, really, really hard, but I'm gonna have to learn at some point if I want to do this. So I just kind of like sat down first on FL Studio. I hated it. No offense to any FL Studio people. It just didn't work for me.
I'm Ableton for life,
Yeah, there you go. And then I switched over to Ableton shortly after. I'm like, damn, okay, this is really cool. I had a lot of fun with it. So yeah, it was just like it was honestly the having fun aspect. That's what really like prompted me to keep going. I liked hearing like improvements through like music. It was like the biggest thing that kept me like continuing to create like music on Ableton. That's literally how it happened.
And dubstep always like the main focus and the base, or you actually had started out with other genres?
So I started off with more melodic genres. Yeah, so I would still say dubstep, but more like future bass. That's what I kind of started out with. I really liked melodic music. Some of my like first remix and stuff, future bass. But then the dubstep transition was probably as of only about 2 years ago, like the actual bass music transition.
Okay. But who made you do that switch?
Honestly, just like listening to a bunch of music, going to a lot more festivals and concerts and stuff like that. I just really like the effect that bass music has on like a crowd scenario. Like making or like hearing like extremely crazy drops being like
having that energy right there.
Yeah, I love that. And that's my favorite thing at a music festival or concert.
So okay. So basically like switching from future bass to dubstep, have you ever thought about like, going both routes and having that, that dubstep route and having future bass, or you just rather stick with just that genre?
I did. I've thought about that a lot. And the thing is, I've been trying to incorporate like melodic components into my dubstep, but the kind of dubstep I've been trying to create recently is a very like heavy, like atonal genre, like tear out dubstep or tear out rhythm, which usually doesn't mesh too well with melodies, except maybe in an introduction or something like that. But I am still trying to incorporate those two subgenres with each other.
I mean, it's definitely possible to do it. It's not hard. Like, I mean, if Barely Alive can actually do something like that in VR and other people like fucking even Elenian does that shit.
Oh yeah, they do it. They do it great.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible. Or you can do what normally dubstep artists actually do, which I'm also trying to do that as well, because I actually fuck a lot with the melodic side as well. I really, really digging a lot more the melodic dubstep and the future rhythm and all that shit. Like I really, really loved it very much that I'm starting my own projects with. In fact, like I'm releasing my take of melodic dubstep with Mantec and Infinite coming up. So I'm very proud and very happy for that release coming out.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. And
that's awesome as well, man.
And
that's big.
Yeah, it's super big, and it's super big for me because, like, obviously, I'm collaborating with two heavy hitters, and they're also homies, and
they're sick. They have awesome music.
Oh hell yeah!
So do you. I've checked yours too. You have awesome music as well. I've checked your SoundCloud.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
What? Let me ask you this: what do you think about the last song that I've released which was called Raf.
I have to pull it up again. This was last night. I was
You were checking me out.
gigs.
That's what's up. You were checking me out, huh?
Yeah, man. Always gotta check out the music homies, you know. What I do remember of the music I checked out of yours is I really liked. Oh yeah, I see this Wrath right here.
Yeah.
I don't know if I listened to this one, but there was other music. But I like your mix sounds, man. And you have like the kind of like if I were to mix two artists, it would be Chime and Excision. That would be your sound in my head.
So with Chime and Excision?
Yes, those are like the two mixed sounds or
Damn.
like styles I would have in my head to your music.
Dude, I thank you. I appreciate that. That is literally the first time I've ever heard that from anybody telling me. It's like, oh yeah, it's like like Excision and Chime made a baby, and then you came along.
I don't know. That was the first thing that came to my head.
Wow, thank you. That's dope. Well, I mean, shit. I thought for the longest time it's like, yeah, my song is average at best or mediocre or it ain't that big a deal. But when people like you and others tell me like, nah, your shit is actually pretty good, I get hyped about it. I get like, oh, okay. So I did a good job. What the fuck? Fuck you, labels.
Yeah.
Seriously. Yeah. But back to what I was trying to tell you. Yeah, I'm falling in love a lot more with that whole melodic and future rhythm stuff like that. Mm-hmm. That I've been incorporating stuff like that into my music, you know? Bro, like I've never been so happy that I'm doing that shit, you know? And I feel like this is something that, you know, as an artist, you evolve because you normally will never take that chance, you know? But those are the times in which you succeed. When people say, I ain't taking that chance, that's when you succeed because they're too afraid to it. And then you'll be like the only one that can actually do that type of stuff, you know? So always like be open about, and you know, never be afraid of incorporating that melodic stuff into that tear out shit. Like for example, the song I sent over to Mantic, originally it was supposed to be a very, very old melodic dubstep with the heavy chords and shit. And then a second build up pops out with a tear out drop. So like people like Roy Knotts, Wooly, and I know Slander has done this before, and like Pixel Terror and speaking of Chime and Tim and I have done this, have incorporated, like have something melodic and at the same time build it up to something like hard and heavy and nasty, you know?
I love that style. Like okay, the one song that really sticks out to me, I believe used this style was, you know, the song Falling by Wooly and Trivecto. It was released.
Oh, hell yeah. Beautiful song.
Yeah, that song is amazing. Yeah, and that's I definitely know what you're saying though. They can be incorporated with each other, like heavy and melodic music.
Yeah. You just have to find the balance, you know? You just have to find the balance. I'm pretty sure that's what makes it very hard for a lot of people to find it. But once you actually do it, it's like at that point, the sky is the limit. At that point, you can literally do anything with any of your songs. And if your song is just like that, that's just like that, man.
I definitely agree with that.
Absolutely. 100%. And the most of the key things about this, in which a lot of people don't realize that, because like people will assume that, oh, you know, it's two different sounds, you know, that have the chords and then have that tear out. It's just two different sound designs. Actually, what many people don't know is that most of the time it all came from one sound.
It's true. I mean, Wooly uses saw waves apparently for his sound design, and they're using super saws. So I mean,
yeah, could
have evolved from the same sound.
Yeah, I mean that's why most of the time you hear some of these songs very cohesive, you know, in which you're like, damn, I never realized that this super high chords drop can go along with this heavy tear out drop, and
sometimes in unison perfectly.
Yeah, and it all because it all stems from one sound. I learned this from a lot of people, from like Crimson Child, Mode Step, and Adair, who's now Careless Castle. Yeah, like I learned from these guys that they basically, they tell you like, you know, create one sound, whatever sound it is, it don't matter. Just create one sound. Now form a drop out of that one sound and just destroy it, resample it, post process it, like do a bunch of crazy and gnarly shit. Before you know it, you have that one drop as original as fuck that basically nobody can even copy that because it came down for your idea, for that crazy wild idea that you actually did while you're doing it, and then you apply that same sound on every other section of the project, and then before you know it, you make high notes, bells, and cowbells and other shit. It's like the sky's the limit at that point.
Yeah, no, like it's funny you mentioned that because that honestly is something that I was recently like brought to the light of. Like kind of someone said this to me: always use your own fills in your music. Like specifically like fills, like like drum fills or like I don't know, bass fills in songs.
Yeah,
he told me always use your own fills, because if you use like a fill that you find on Splice and you don't change it at all, and a label apparently hears that, they're gonna be like, someone else, another sample pack. But when you do what you were saying, getting like one sound and drop and just resampling and going crazy with everything, no one else has that, and then you can.
Exactly. And I mean, and that's the whole point of being a bass producer, and especially in this industry, you're supposed to sound unique. You're supposed to sound diverse. I remember that in one of the collectives, I was in one of the video chats, and we were all talking, chilling. One of the guys who I forgot, Iman, shout out to that guy. Iman's from LA, and he has sick shit. Like his rhythm, like I'm not a big fan of rhythm at all. Like I could care less about rhythm, but his rhythm, to me, it was like, whoa, that's fucking fire. And then he was like sending me a project that we were listening. And when we listened to the song itself is dope, but the sound itself, I've heard it before. Like I've heard it from another artist, and me and another person picked that up right away. We both were thinking the same thing. We were like, yo, it's dope, but I feel like the drop sounds like a sound that came from Vandals or from 12th Planet. And he was like, oh shit, how'd you know? Like that I recreated one of their drops and shit, and that's what I came out. And we're like, there you go. We knew about it. And it's dope that you recreate it, because I'm pretty sure it's not easy to recreate a sound from someone else. You can figure it out, but it takes time for you to do it. And I say like, so, dude, the pattern is dope, and that's cool for you to actually recreate that sound. However, the fact that I was able to listen your song and I immediately picked it up and say, oh, that's something that could be made from Vandals or 12th Planet, because that's their song, their sound, their style sound. That tells me that you weren't that original, even though you were original recreating. But if I'm gonna hear a song of yours, I want to hear a song that doesn't let me like reference anybody. That lets me like say, oh shit, I never heard of this. This is something you will do. This is something that Wolfson will do. This is something that No Lie will do, Something that I can say like, damn, I've never heard something like this. Versus like, oh yeah, I've heard this sound before. Like this is something that a company will do, or something Virtual Riot would do, It's different. It has a different hit, because back again to the labels, why would the label look at you and say, yeah, I'm down to sign your song when your song sounds like one of their artists? They'll be like, well, we have him. He can do it. Why do we need you?
Yeah, that's right. What you said right there. That's exactly their thinking. Like, they just don't hear like complete originality, I believe. Like, and I've noticed recently in the scene, I mean, that's just getting more and more like strict, and more of like an expectation in music to be like completely original. And even for some labels, it's going down to the drum samples. That's how much of originality they want. They listen
really
for that. Yeah. Some of the tear-out labels, like some producers were telling me on like certain tear-out labels that, yeah, because if you don't make your own drums and literally drum fills or snares and stuff like that, label will say no if they recognize it. But that could go for some. That's like the more extreme case, but I believe like things that are very distinctly like picked out, like in songs, that should be the bare minimum of originality.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, and that's very interesting that you're saying that, because I didn't know we've gone down to that stricter now. Submitting songs. I come for the notion that I'm done sending demos to labels, because most of the time the majority of these labels they just put it on the spam folder. That's what they are.
I haven't figured that part out yet, to be honest, man. Because
I could tell you right away.
Yeah, what it just spam folder, like, is that their auto inbox for submissions?
Yeah, basically this is what a lot of artists, established artists and A&Rs don't tell you, but I will tell you, because A, I've experienced it, B, I experimented on it, C, I've talked to A&Rs before, and D, I've talked to people who used to work with A&Rs and labels and tell me these stories. So that's how I got my reference and back and see like how this whole demo submission really works. Now, I do say it because like last time I did an episode about this, about demo submission, like basically saying do not send demos to labels because it's just a waste of time. I said that in the nicest way in a 30 to 40 minute video. But I did mention it. I did put a disclaimer at the beginning saying like the majority of labels, not all labels, because I can tell which labels do listen to the music. Like, for example, Disciple is one of those people that will listen to your music. Subsidia Excision does listen to your music. Funkcase, DPMO, they listen to your music. Root Service, I think that's Bear Grylls, listens to your music. Ophelia Records, Seven Lions, they do listen to your music. So it's like I can name a couple more, like they do legitimately listen to your music and they'll give you feedback if you ask them. They'll say,
that's good news.
Yeah.
That's good news, right?
Yeah. But the rest of the other labels that I talk a lot, the rest in peace and never say died, who really died. The other majority labels are Spinning Records and Monster Cat and Play Me Records. Like all those labels, any labels that give you a email link, an email, yeah, that's basically a spam folder. The reason why they have it is so people will stop sending demos through their general inquiries email. So they're kind of
it's like a diversion.
Yeah, exactly. And
I give it to them. That's smart.
Yeah, no, of course. And it's kind of fucked up, but it's smart out of them to how to do that, and you can tell because like if you're like me and I've sent an email to certain someone, I always have the email tracker on to make sure that they open it. And most of the time I never seen that open. And when they do open, I go check on my SoundCloud stats and make sure did they play it. And if they didn't play it, then I can tell. And if they did play it, but I still don't get an email back, then I already know. Yeah. That's how you can tell for the most of it. But the one thing I will tell people, when it comes that even if you want to release music at that particular certain label, I would say first you will want them to look at you, not the other way around. You shouldn't be looking at them. They should be looking at you. That's how you get their attention. That's how you get release out of it. Why? How? But dude, it's simple. Yeah, it's a business.
Then they'll recognize you if you contact them. Yeah.
Yes. Exactly. And remember, guys, like we all think that releasing on a label is all cool and fun. It's like, holy shit, I got released on Subsidia, I got released on Disciple, I got released on Cannibal or Cyclops or whatever. Yeah, it's all cool and fun and games and whatnot, but you have to understand that it's a business. They run a business, so they need to make money out of it. So your song can be dope as fuck, but if you don't have a social media following or you're not active in social media, then they're the ones taking the risk. They want some of your followers some of your audience to look at their label. Basically, jumping one following audience to mine.
It's a trade.
It's a fair trade in a sense. It shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that. It should always be the talent. Talent should always trump anything else. But unfortunately, it's what we're dealing in today's society. You know, it is what we're dealing right now. And what I tell people, like for that instance, you know, like they should look at you and you're asking me, oh, but how they're gonna notice it? Like, oh, well, you know, making some noise on social media is one way. Another way is sending music to the artists that are in that roster. Like if you send a song to one of the artists in that roster and you ask them for a feedback, you come nicely. You come in, you know, welcome me nicely, be friendly about it. Say, hey, how's it going? I got this song. Would like for you to, you know, give me a little bit of feedback, see where I can improve myself and yada, yada, yada. And if the guy, you know, fucks with it, they'll tell you straight out, yo, I fuck with this song. Yo, send me some more. And he'll play it. He'll definitely play it. He or she will play it. And believe it or not, when they play those songs, when they play your songs on live, people will start to hit you up. People will start to hit you up and they'll start to look at you. And that's how they'll start to notice you. And that's how these labels will be like, hey, what's it going, man? Hey, if you got any songs, man, don't be afraid to send it over to ours. You know, we would like to have something to do with you.
That's how it begins.
That's basically the game, man. That's basically the game.
Thank you for telling me that, actually, because I had some like mixed thoughts about that process, actually. And no, but thank you for telling me that. I really do appreciate that.
No, of course, man. I'm happy that you were able to know this and we were able to talk about this stuff. You know, this is exactly the stuff that needs to be discussed, you know, because you don't really hear this from any established artist. Like, have you ever heard this type of conversation with anyone publicly, at least?
100% no.
No.
Definitely not.
And I'm trying to make it more publicly known, you know, even if it, you know, even it costs me being blackballed from the industry, which I could give a shit about it. It don't matter. I'm still popping off.
It's the truth.
It's the truth. And it's the truth.
Only
And
the truth.
and only the truth. And people deserve it. People need to know these type of stuff, because why is it that we know about this behind the scenes, but publicly people don't know about this? So I become that voice and put it out there on the public so everybody has public knowledge about this. Because if you're starting to think of becoming a producer and try to capitalize on this, man, these are some of the things that you should be knowing about. I could give you like a bunch of mistakes that I've done when I was starting up, a bunch of mistakes that a lot of locals, homies that I know that they committed, and most of them, they're like nowhere. They're nowhere right now. You know, they're not as big as they should have been. And these are talented as fuck people, man. I mean, let me tell you, I grew up the same era that, you know, I started out the 2015, 2016, 2017 era. Yeah, because that's where, you know, trap was getting big. Trap was, you know, huge in that era.
Big trap era, the festival trap era.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's when I was starting to come up. I mean, my first show was, you know, Jello Club. I opened for him. And then afterwards, it was just Life in Color, Sunset, Dreamland, and then Bear Grylls, OK, and then Borgore, you know? It was well, right. But
that's it.
Yeah, dude.
That was one of the best times of EDM as well, I think. That was one of the that's when there was like the hype was really building around the genre, you know. So like really like everything just started blowing up completely, like out of nowhere.
That was like the time in which bass music was at its peak here in Miami, at least in the South Florida. Because we all know Miami is all known about house music, so you barely get to hear any bass at all. And then I remember at that time when Club Space and Heart nightclub was around. Well, Space is still around. Heart is no longer, but it was still bringing.
When did Heart like go out of business, or when did it like disappear?
Heart probably disappeared by the time I left the scene. I left the scene like around 2017.
Oh wow, it's been gone for a minute.
Yeah, I really don't remember any more of those shows afterwards, because afterwards I was just focusing on my music.
Mhm.
Try to build up my image, try to build up my career out of it, but it wasn't easy. Shit, it wasn't not easy. Especially when I used to work in the Clevelander Hotel, 12-hour shits every weekend. Yeah, no, that was, like I didn't have any life. Yeah, like these are some of the stories that I tell on my podcast, and I like to keep it a buck with people so they can learn something from me. At least, try not to do the same mistakes that I did. For example, I will tell somebody, if you're gonna start off by being a producer, just focus on your music. Do not start at being a promoter and get your name out there and focus on just that. Like, no, just focus on your music. Focus on your music 100% because eventually the promoters will look for you, will find you, and they will book you. That's how normally how it's supposed to work. Like I've seen some of my homies going on that route, and it has worked for them. So that's like a big advice that I'll tell people is like, don't be a promoter, just focus on music, because I can tell you I spent over 300 hours of my lifetime just promoting shows that I wasn't going to be a part of. Imagine using those 300 hours that I could use on just making music.
That is a lot of time. That is a lot of time, indeed.
Yeah, it just makes the hell of a difference.
No, it does. I completely agree with that, man. Like, the music is the product. And
Yeah.
we are trying to become a business. Got to master the product. And going back to really thinking about that, I think for most people, including myself, kind of struggle with the music making side of things. Just everyone's competing to make like the next more original sound or like the new trend
Yeah.
or the new like, oh, I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
That's so unique, whatever you would call that. And there's kind of a pressure when releasing music in that sense, or kind of like showing people your music and kind of being proud of it, because everyone has a different definition of good music. It's subjective completely. Like
Right.
I can hear something, you can hear something, we can have two totally different opinions on it. But with a good enough mix down, I believe with enough time, you can eventually come out with your unique sound.
Right.
As of anyone. But yeah, that's how I look at it.
That's actually a very good way to look at that things, man. And that's good, man. Because that means that you're literally trying to think outside the box. And not many people go with that flow. People are very stuck about try to sound the same as this certain artist. All because I can do it. I can sound like this. See, and look how heavy I can do it. See, I can do a better job than him. That's not gonna get you anywhere. Other than people will say like, "Holy fuck,"
You can never compare yourself to others. That's a losing game right there.
Yeah, basically, that's something that I learned that the hard way.
Me too.
And yeah, I couldn't agree more with that notion. And once I let go of that, once I said like I really don't give a fuck of who am I comparing myself to, or who am I doing the music, because before it was more about, oh, let me do the music for the people, hoping that I get that validation from the people. And the people, I mean the fans, the audience, the artists, the labels. I was getting like so much stress and unnecessary stress and unnecessary pressure that I want to have that validation, and trying to go with that route with sounding original and not sounding the same as ever. That caused out early burnout with my production. Got to the point, like I say, like I need to stop making music because it wasn't making me happy anymore.
Yeah,
It was a job at that point.
that's literally like, so I've had times as well, right? Where I'm just sitting in front of my DAW, just like creating something, and I'm just like thinking to myself, I'm not having a lot of fun right now. Why am I not having fun? I usually have so much fun. And it was literally because I have like a reference track inside of my DAW, and I'm like trying to like match someone else's sound or something. I'm trying to like do what someone else did, what someone else had fun with. But then I took a step back, or whenever that happens, I try to take a step back. And I'm like, I'm gonna literally put anything in here that I personally think is cool. And it's gonna make me have fun in this moment with the DAW. And that's really how I get over like that and writer's block and everything like that. Just I try to make it more entertaining.
And I was actually gonna ask you later on about that. Like, do you actually believe in writer's block?
Oh yeah, it's huge.
And what do you do when you actually like filling down the dumps? You know, how do you get over it?
Some people say taking a step back is the way to go about it. Taking a step back could be a good way to go about it. Instead of taking a step back, what I usually do is I'll instead of like continuing to produce, what I'll do is kind of listen to my old tracks, bring them inside the DAW and kind of like see what I did with them, or listen to other artists' tracks inside the DAW and kind of like take them apart to like get inspiration.
Right.
But like in those moments, I generally don't take a break because sometimes it's still there when I come back. I don't like try to like get over the mountain.
That's actually a very good way to do it, man. I ask this to everybody because everybody has a different method. In fact, like a lot of people say that they don't believe in writer's block. They believe that some of these people they feel like it's like laziness at that point. Very interesting take out of it, because I can see why there's that laziness component when you get that block, you know? But it's not like you're really being lazy and you just don't want to write about it. It's just like nothing comes out of your head that says like, I want to do this, you know? I hear all stories, so I'm very interested. I'm hearing yours as well.
I think there's probably not, I guarantee you, there's not probably one artist in the world that has 365 days a year of perfect days, no matter what.
No.
Everyone has their off days. Every single person. If they tell you they don't have off days, they're probably not telling the truth. No one's perfect. I believe those off days are writer's block, even if people don't identify, if they're a producer, obviously. And those off days, I believe that's a sense of writer's block.
You know what? And some of those who don't believe it, they say that their way of, not feeling of writing something, they just write something else different, you know? Like say like, I'm a dubstep producer. I don't feel like making dubstep today. So like, what can I do? It's like, oh, let me just do a future bass, or let me do a house song, or let me do a drum bass, or something that's different than the dubstep. And they experiment it, they get motivated, they get all hyped about it, and then before you know, they just finish a song that's like dope. And once they have that, adrenaline popped in, that's where they come back again and write a new session.
No, that honestly sounds like a great method. Even though I personally never done that because when I get writer's block, I usually just get really blank faced. Yeah, like because I tend to really focus and fixate on like certain things in music, which kind of like holds me back a little bit in a sense. And when that happens, it's like hard for me to get off my mind off that one thing I was thinking about while creating a track. But hey, that could be a great remedy. That sounds like a great remedy.
Hey man, like you're not the only one who goes down for this road as well. Like there are times in which I open a session, I listen to it like 5 times and does absolutely nothing. That's like so like, why did I open this session? It's like, let's just switch it up, you know. But another great method I also have found, organizing your folders, organizing your samples, going by scales, going by, BPMs, and organizing your presets, or organizing your project sessions. That's actually another method of getting rid of your writer's block, because it's funny how the human brain works, man, because you see how you get how they say that your best ideas comes from the shower. There's a theory behind it. And the reason why is because every day your brain is always recording. think about your brain as a hard drive. You know, it's always recording information every day. You're learning something new, right? And you're also trying to write something new. We're hardwired to that. But then when you do stuff that is very repetitive, your brain shuts down. Like it goes to hibernation in a way. Like it stops recording and it stops writing because you train your mind and you train your body to do this every day on a daily basis automatically. Like perfect example. At first you when you drive first, you didn't learn how to drive just because you knew it. It's not the fucking Matrix that you just like poop. Okay, now I know how to fly a helicopter. No, it's not that. Like you had to practice. And the more you practice, the more confident you became, the more you learn, the more you were able to do it, that it became automatically that every time you go to a car, you know what to do.
Second nature at that point.
Exactly. And another example is it's second nature to you when you brush your teeth every day. You don't think about it, you just do it. You just know that every morning when you wake up, after you have breakfast or before whatever your routine, you have to brush your teeth. You just know that every morning you have to brush your teeth. Second nature, you have to do that. Same goes.
Daily routines.
Yeah, same goes to showering. You know, every day you have to at least take a shower once or twice, but that's already automatically that you do that automatically without even thinking twice. Like, yeah, I need to take a shower. That's when your brain literally shuts off and stops writing and starts reading. And when you get that hibernation on, that's where your brain all of a sudden starts to have room to breathe and makes you think about other certain things. Instead of focusing on one thing every day, because you're already doing it, the brain will automatically will shut off. It's like, all right, he has it on his own. I don't need to think about it. That's when your brain really thinks about more stuff, and that's where your creative ideas comes into fruition because that's when you're in the shower, you're like, oh my God, I know how to do this. Oh my God, I need to go back to the session. Now I know how to fix this. I know how to start this. Oh, I just figure out a new melody. I just hum it right now in the shower. Fuck, let me just write it down right away and boom.
Do you believe like white noise has anything to do with that? Like, you know, like the noise of a shower. It's like a very like calming noise to some people, like white noise. I think that has something to do with like creative thoughts.
Interesting. Never thought about that. And the reason I will say that it's because my ears has been trained to all certain frequencies. As an audio engineer, you have to train your ears from your lowest frequencies all the way to your high frequencies. So I really never notice it. And to me, when I hear certain frequencies, it's just, for me, it's more of a automatically I know what it is and where to pick it up and how to kill it. It's not me thinking like, oh yeah, every time I hear the white noise, something will trigger me. But I can see where you're going with it. I can see where you're going because that I will say I've heard stories about certain sounds triggers people.
Yeah. It's like certain sounds can trigger memories. Unfortunately, and some bad memories for some people, like
right.
Especially like veterans, like PTSD can be triggered by sound. But also there's good things like relaxing sounds that people can listen to that puts them in a relaxing state or creative state. Like for me, like when I listen to like white noise, it's kind of, or pink noise, pink noise.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I listen to that, as weird as it sounds, it kind of like gives me like a blank slate. And it's kind of like relaxing.
Why not? If it makes you like much more relaxed and then it gives you more ideas later down the road, then hey, go for it. Like everybody has their own methods of how to do these certain things, Like nobody can follow the same blueprint as somebody that's already made it. It's almost impossible to do it. Like I tell this to everyone, like the perfect example, like Jay-Z can literally give me his exact blueprints of how he made it to where he is right now. Like he can actually tell me like where he started, how he did it, and all the stuff that he had to do all the way to where he is right now. I can actually have the plans, the key to the mint to go, all right, like I got it. And I might not end up like Jay-Z, or maybe not even close.
Just like you're right. Like even if you have like a full instruction panel, like so many things could just end up differently, like the time frame and just like so many things. It's like you're right about that. Completely right. I agree.
I mean, and it's okay that you can use some of these blueprints as a reference, as a learning curve, you know, like, yeah, you can definitely do that and learn from that. And you can pick some of those stuff up and, you know, apply to it. You cannot follow it to the T and expect you're going to have the same results as Jay-Z, you know?
You're right. Everyone has their own path, and every single path for every single person is going to be different.
Yeah.
It will never be the same. And if you follow someone else's shoes, you'll never get where you want to be.
Talking about paths, you know, what is right now No Lie's path right now?
My current path is to have music releases every single month, whether it's single solo releases or with another artist. For example, May 5th, I have a new track coming out with Max Goon. You had him on the show.
Absolutely. Shout out to Goon, man.
Yes, sir. He's the homie. Yeah, we're releasing a track May 5th, and that's going to be a self-release for us through our social media and platforms, not a label release. But yeah, it's going to be for No Lie. It'll be releases each month. Going to do like I will be searching for labels, sending them out first and searching for labels. But if labels don't take them up, then there will be solo releases.
I like it that you actually have a plan right now, and you said like, let me just stick to it, and then, you know, later down the road we can actually go for the bigger things. You know, I will say keep at it at the whole solo artist right now, and keep releasing music like at least once a month, or just be consistent. Just be consistent, because consistency is the key. Absolutely. You know, just be consistent about your projects and your releases and your presence, you know, because it'll get you much farther than you can anticipate, man.
That is the plan. Because consistency is key in this industry, 100%.
Yeah.
Just being present on social media and in person shows and everything, so people see your face. Kind of can put a name to your face. I think it's very important.
How is your social media so far? Like, how is your presence in there?
So I actually used to have like much more of a social media presence about a year and a half, 2 years ago. When COVID happened, I kind of took a step back with No Lie, because I believed that my music needed much to improve before I really started pushing myself out there. And it wasn't honestly until this year where I really restarting it and starting to try to really do branding again, marketing, and every month releases on my pages. So I would say as of 2022, this year has been a fresh start for No Lie and the whole branding and release concept.
And what has been like your favorite project up till now that you have done before?
Like release or
music? Yeah, music project. Like any song that you've done so far that you say like, holy shit, this was by far my favorite one that I've done.
Pulling up SoundCloud right here, but I'm gonna probably say one of my newer projects that I've been working on.
Okay.
It's actually my song called Network that I released on a friend's label, Project Underground Bass. And that has probably been my favorite track to date, just because it was an original track, had the absolute most fun making it and sound designing the whole thing. And yeah, it was honestly just like a huge blast to me making this track.
That's cool.
Never hated one moment of it.
That's pretty cool, man. And what is normally your creative process when it comes to these sessions that you actually go to?
When it comes to creating a new track, I will always start with the low end. You know,
why is that?
Generic as that sounds. I believe just in bass music, the low end of a song is just like carrying aspect when it comes to like this live speaker system. And not all bass music. It's not like but I would say in like rhythm, like heavy rhythm and tear up. Right. It's a huge focus. because when you go like rhythm, for example, you have that sub that's like moving
Whoa,
really
whoa,
like
whoa, whoa,
clean
whoa.
with the bass,
Yeah.
and like it's like a rhythmic driver almost.
Mm.
So yeah, I'll start with that. People might start elsewhere, but I'll start with that. Try to make like a cool groove with the hats and drums and bass, so they're all like syncopating with each other and being like really good with each other. And then yeah, from there I'll just start with the sound design, but I'll always start with a drop. Drop is yeah, something I always start with. I've been told that I should start focusing more on my introductions, which I agree. The intros are.
I mean, there's nothing wrong by starting by the drop, you know? I mean, I'll tell you, I started all my projects from the drop. Is like whatever I can make from the drop, like everything else just makes sense. I just
Yeah,
literally go
yeah,
and
exactly.
then everything I tell you, right from the drop, everything will write itself.
I agree. That's yeah, that's how I've been doing it.
I've tried. I mean, everybody has their own way of doing certain things, you know, how they start their sessions. And I did try let me start from the beginning. Let me start from, from the intro and the breakdowns and whatnot. I tried it and I don't know why, for some reason, the drops just don't end the same way that I was expecting it to be, Like
I think it's the excitement factor. Like
mm,
when you're creating a song, like usually I believe that all bass producers, their favorite part of music is just like the drop.
yeah,
Like we're all hyped about like making the drop.
yeah,
And when you don't start with that, you're like you get a little like bored. Like in a sense where you're just like working on a slow intro that builds up to a drop. Because I don't
right.
know if you noticed, but like some of these like rhythm producers and like newer rhythm producers and stuff, they'll have like really minimal introductions, like really minimal with just like
Yeah.
not a lot there. And then the drop is just crazy, like absolutely insane. You can tell like what they had.
Yeah, I noticed that a lot more in the recent, songs released for a lot of bass artists. That it's like I remember back then it was just like at least a good 30 to a minute long of intro breakdown and build up, and then the drop is like right there. Now it's just like 15 seconds of
Yeah.
intro and then you're already at the build up, and then also the drop is like bam right there in your face.
Like one hi-hat, some voice saying what's
Yeah.
up, and then the drop.
Yeah. And just builds it out. Doom, 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 doom. Hey, yo, what's up? Boom, wah, 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 wah,
Yeah,
wah,
that's
wah, wah,
literally
wah.
it. That's literally it.
Yeah, bro. Like there's no more creativity. I don't know. Like I like a lot more when the songs gives me, instead of like, I get the aspect of straight to it, no bullshit. I fuck with it, and it's easy for me to DJ about it because it's like, all right, I already know where to start. I could just like, there you go. But I think I enjoy a lot more on songs that has like a lot of creativity or more of a storytelling. I fuck a lot more with songs that has a little bit of storytelling. Like it tells me that there's the intro, there's the break, build up, drop, break, build up, drop,
Yeah,
outro.
something that builds up to like the peak of the excitement. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, like a lot that does that. 10 Midnight does that a lot. Incision is well known about that shit. Wait, hold on. Now that I
All right,
remember,
he's hella cinema with his songs. Oh my god, I'm having a brain fog right now.
almost
That
every
one song.
song, every song of his is like a minute long of introduction to hype it up, and then all of a sudden that's where you get the job. Like the Paradox, the one he did with
Oh,
Wooly
Rumble,
Luck,
Rumble,
huh?
Rumble, Rumble.
Rumble.
Yeah, that song.
Like it has like a huge fin, and then it
Yeah.
finally gets to the build out, and then the drop, and then the drop hits. It's just like, holy fuck, what the hell is this?
That introduction is crazy. Like
Yeah.
that stood out to me for a very long time. But he's a king at that.
I mean, Phase 4, Incision does have, help from Dion Timmer and Wooly and other people, that makes his songs. Like people will be like, what? And Session has a ghost producer. What? It's like, well, let's not look at it like that. Like he definitely does his music because he has his signature sound, and that's his sound, and you can tell right away. But he definitely gets help from producers that he puts out. Here's the thing: there's some artists that uses ghost producers and they don't shout them out. And then you got Excision literally puts them on blast and puts them on their lineups and puts them on his tour. Like he gives them the recognition that they deserve. Because the majority of his songs is like, yeah, I'm pretty sure Excision has some part of it. I'm pretty sure he did, but I'm pretty sure whoever finished it was the other producers. Because let's think about it for 1 second. Excision is a businessman right now. He has its own label. He has its own, production company that does, the whole Paradox tour and whatnot. He has its own festivals and he DJs and tours. Like, dude, the guy does a lot of things. You think he will have enough time to do something? Oh, and on top of it, he has a wife that the wife goes along with him, but he has to have some time with her. Do you honestly believe he will have the time of the world to sit down for a few hours and make a song all by himself? He does not.
He's everywhere.
He's everywhere, exactly. So
I respect what he does, man. Like he's a busy man. Like
yeah,
I respect what he does.
And I forgot to mention he also does his own visuals. Like he actually created. I remember this conversation.
He designed them.
Yeah, he does. He knows how to design them. I'm pretty sure he has like a team of people that helps him around. But he's literally the editor, the main guy who designs all this and has other people to help it. And he has the final say to how it's going to be. And this is how it's going to be played out throughout the rest of the tour.
Those visuals are so crazy, man. Oh my God.
Like it's sick.
He's talented on many levels. That's awesome.
Yeah. Like, I mean, again, he does everything. He does not have time to go ahead and sit down and make a song all by himself. No, he will ask all the producers that he has helped a lot that put them on blast and put them in the lineup. So it's like, hey, help me out, finish this song. We can do it as a collab, or you can have producer credits and royalties out of it, whatever. And obviously everybody's going to say, yeah, because it's fucking Excision, the guy who put you on the map. Why wouldn't you say no?
I don't know too many people who would say no to that.
Yeah, no. I like Excision hits me up and say, "Let me. Can you do a song for me?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I got you. Put me on Lost Lands." That's all I gotta say. Just put me on Lost Lands. That's it. that's my reward right there.
He's a beast, though. That guy is a beast.
Yeah, bro.
That is an inspiration to be able to do that many things in the music scene. Like achieve so much.
Yeah.
And honestly, a short period of time.
I agree. I mean, well, I wouldn't say a short period of time because this guy.
He's been here for a while.
Yeah. He's been on the dark dubstep days. That's how I'll tell you how long it's been,
I think latest like 5 years, right?
Oof.
5 or 6 years.
Nah, he's been in the game for like, I tell you, it's like.
No. I mean like progression wise. I know he's been in the game like for a ton of time, but like
progression.
Past 5 or 6 years, like I think so much changed for him.
I feel, yeah, I'll say past 2015, past 2014, he's been blowing the fuck up.
Yeah.
Past 2014. Because I remember that I know I've heard of him before because he definitely came to Puerto Rico and performed at EDC with NDC and 12 Planet. But I know he got wildly famous because of the Shambhala mix that he always puts out. If you remember those mixes, like he puts it out and then everybody is like, they got their titties in a bunch because the mix is like literally the fucking hardest shit ever,
Yeah. And you got the Vault releases.
Yeah, the Vault releases. That was huge. That was definitely huge. Paradox Tour was definitely another one. And then right now with the whole Subsidia and Lost Lands, Base Canyon and shit.
Yeah, Lost Lands was a game changer. That was a game changer for not only him, but like a lot of people. He brought a lot of people up with that.
Yeah, he actually did. He literally became the artist that started his own festival to have bass artists in his festival. Like he didn't have to go for the proper channels like there's like other corporation companies like Ultra and EDC and whatnot. Like no, he became the first artist to actually do that, so people don't have to have those dumbass clause that like I don't know if you heard about this. But when you get booked to on any of these, festivals, big time festivals like Ultra, EDC, Tomorrowland and Sunset and Avi and anything that's Insomnia related, in Ultra, like they'll have clause that you're not like you're supposed to have like a 90-day or 120-day period of not being booked anywhere near
Oh,
this before and
the
after.
performance clauses. Yeah.
Yeah, some shit like that. It's some stupid thing that the Insomnia has that, and it's not Insomnia. It's like every other person. They have that to to have the exclusiveness of artists.
That sucks and it's kind of weird, but I guess it does build a hype around like seeing that artist at a festival. I can see why I do it, but it's also like a
Like
little greedy.
it is. No, it is. It is definitely greedy because imagine that your whole life you wanted to perform at Ultra, but you got booked at EDC and EDC is telling you can't perform at Ultra. If you're signed with us, you're signed with us. Like you can't perform at Ultra. You're like, what the fuck, bro?
That would be very unfortunate.
Yeah.
That would be depressing, honestly. But I guess business is business.
Business is business. And it's unfortunate, but and it's like, fuck, okay, do I perform once at Ultra and fuck EDC, or fuck Ultra and perform multiple times with Insomnia? Because Insomnia doesn't have just EDC, it has Beyond Wonderland, all the Wonderlands basically.
Because no matter what, if you give up one opportunity, you burn the bridge with the other.
It's something like that, yeah.
No, if you deny them, I'm sure that's gonna burn a bridge, like you're saying no to a festival. So
that's why you see a lot of bass artists don't do Ultra at all.
Because of the clause, you think?
No, because of the clause. That, and obviously because Ultra is always well known to be as house favoritism, like house, trance, and techno favoritism. That they really could give a fuck about bass music at all.
So do those clauses usually have 90 days before or 90 days before and after? Probably 90 days before, right?
I've heard both stories. And I know we talked about it. If you look at the episode 100 with Chris from Underground Wolves, shout out to those guys, the G's. If you look at the episode, we definitely talked about that briefly. I don't remember which part, but check that out. Because that was something that they told me. They told me about it, and I've heard stories about it. I just never thought it was actually actually true.
It's definitely real. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, oh fuck, bro. That kind of like puts a damper on some artists. And the reason why I know about it is because they say that some of the artists that wanted to perform for that show that you and me met, that show there were gonna be bigger artists than the ones that they got, and they were like down to fuck to do it. They were ready to go it, and then until they say like, dude, we can't because of the clause.
Yeah, they got clause for Ultra.
They got clause for ADC.
Oh, for ADC, not Ultra.
Because these guys are performing at Forbidden Kingdom.
Oh.
And Forbidden Kingdom is like,
oh, it's an Insomniac event now.
Yeah. It's before it was just owned by Apex, by Lucho and Pepe, and Pepe was the main guy. But I don't know what happened that they sold it to Insomniac and made it much bigger. Yeah, like they say that, some of the artists that they couldn't name them, but they said that they were down to perform during Miami Music Week. They couldn't do it because of Forbidden Kingdom, because they're going to be performing in Forbidden Kingdom, which is like, damn, bro, that sucks. So they have. And I think it's before and after, because they say they couldn't before for Forbidden Kingdom, and they couldn't perform after. So it's that.
It makes you wonder though.
Huh?
What? It makes you wonder one thing. The artist Leotrix?
Leotrix, yeah.
So he was at Ultra. He performed at Ultra, and he's going to be performing at Forbidden Kingdom. So I want to know how he got around that. Yeah, because he's going to be at both.
Probably, and my opinion. Probably he did not sign to perform at all of Insomniac events. Like he did not sign
Yeah.
exclusively to Insomniac. I'm pretty sure it's because that's why. Like pretty sure because like if he wanted to perform in other festivals, let's just say that Tomorrowland hits them up, it's like, oh no, I can't because Insomniac. So I'm pretty sure that's why he managed to get around that.
It's like a one-shot deal. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I wanna perform an ultra or maybe ultra doesn't have those claws as Insomnia does. Maybe ultra does have it, but it's not as tedious as Insomnia. I'm pretty sure like ultra has like, oh, you cannot perform before anywhere near, but afterwards like you're okay, like a month or something, or less than a month or nothing. Maybe that's why. Because I can tell you this, I remember that Skrillex performed at Ultra, and then a few months later, he performed at Sunset Music Festival during Memorial Weekend.
Oh yeah, they probably any festival can't probably get him to like sign to an exclusivity agreement because I mean he'll be taken anywhere.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't need to sign an agreement like that because I mean he's in demand like anywhere. It's like what is he willing to play?
Yeah, exactly. And which one he wants to play, which one he would want to play, Yeah, I know that for a fact. And I know for a fact that Sunset Music Festival's full lineup, gets released after Ultra Weekend. Either after the weekend or a week after Ultra. Because Armin van Buren plays at Sunset. And some of the other artists from Ultra that were performed plays at Sunset. But they cannot announce it. They cannot announce it until Ultra is over. Once Ultra is over, okay, now we can announce it. Because I'm pretty sure there's that certain clause right there. We're still in the clause section right there. And I'm pretty sure that's how some of these people gets around it as well.
That would make sense because like if they're at both, I mean, one person could be like, oh, okay, this artist is going to Sunset. Sunset tickets are cheaper. I'm just going to go to see him in Sunset.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. That and because, that another way, Ultra comes first and then Sunset, and you're getting closer to Ultra. Why are you promoting this other festival instead of paying attention on us right now? Like we want everybody to come to us first. Then you can do whatever you want afterwards. But we want people to notice us first. So
it makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So I didn't know that some of that are not that tedious, but I know that Insomniac is that motherfucking tedious when it comes to those damn claws, And circling back, it's just exactly why Ed Station did his own thing because of those certain claws. He's like, fuck claws, just play, have fun. That's all you gotta do, and get paid while at it. Be on the lineup, and boom. So he's definitely breaking the mold, like breaking the industry overall, like, changing the narrative, how it's supposed to be,
Yeah, that's great, honestly. Like full festival for one genre or one subgenre. That is, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Especially bass music. Like, it's awesome. Like, very inspiring to see,
I agree. And I hope that lots of people get inspired by that and do stuff like that to change the narrative of it,
That'd be dream come true.
Yeah. Seriously. I mean, I'm trying to do the same thing. I'm trying to change the narrative of this scene,
Yeah, I hella respect what you're doing, man. Like, giving all these people a voice in the industry. Like, thanks for having me on, especially, like, thank you so much. Appreciate, like, you having me on. Of course. Like, it was great, like, speaking to you now and at the show.
Yeah.
That we met at. Like, always awesome talking in general.
Thank you, man. I thank you very much for coming over to the show, man. I really do. And I am very sincere with that with everybody that comes over to the show. Like, like maybe
anytime.
Like maybe for you or for anybody, it's not a big deal, but for me, it really is. It don't matter how big or small you really are. Like the fact that you're sitting down and having a conversation with me about these certain topics, is like, it's already fulfilling for me enough, And the fact that you're learning something from me and I'm learning something from you, it's its own reward,
It's a great deal for me, man. I mean, big deal, like great deal, like just speaking to you and having you like just have the time and like to ask me these questions, and it really makes me feel really good about all this. And I just want you to know I really appreciate it.
Thank you, man. I'm glad to hear that, man. I'm really I got a few more questions, man, but before we get to those few questions, man, is there like a particular question that you got for me in particular that you always wanted to ask, whether it's about me or the industry or stuff that I know about, stories, gossip? I know a lot of dirty gossips and ugly truths. So I mean, but floor is yours. Like, is there something that you always like eager to know about?
Yeah. What's like out of the people you've interviewed so far,
Mm-hmm.
what's one of like what's one of the similarities or like patterns you've seen with most producers?
Mm.
Just like something that you hear all of us say as of like their story.
That's actually a very good question. Something that we producers have lots in common. All literally started the same way where we started it. We all
True.
struggle. Like a lot of people are not musicians. I'm not a musician either. But we all literally started the way we did. We just picked up the laptop and got inspired and then start making stuff. That's definitely a similarity I have I come across with some of these artists, that we all actually have this is a better one. We all have, even though our come-ups are different, our struggles are the same.
A lot of people go through the same learning curves, struggles, and just everyone gets over them differently.
Yeah.
Everyone crosses the same mountain, but has a different path.
Yeah. Yeah. That absolutely. That was a good one. And I'll give you a third one and the final one. Everybody has their own demons they fight. We're literally not alone about that. We all have that same, common similarity that we have our own battles. We have our own demons that we fight every day. We all have has been, had been, or still been struggling with our mental health.
Absolutely. I agree.
We all have that very much in common.
I agree, man. Especially like after like COVID, that whole year and a half. Like that was a rough year on a lot of people, man. Like work wise, gave us a lot of time, but like being so like consolidated and like in like a solitary environment, not around too many people.
Isolated.
Yeah. Just like it was a weird time, like very like quiet, weird time. And definitely put a toll on a lot of people. But glad things are starting to change now and like everything's changed.
I agree.
But yeah.
I agree. I'm really am glad that things are definitely moving forward to what it should be, and everything is like opening back and going back to quote unquote normalcy. Still, COVID is still around, but it's less threatening.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, something that we did all struggle together as producers is like our mental health itself, And the fact that I can relate to every single one of these guests that I have on my show, it's what's fascinating. It's like this is how close we really are. This is how connected we really are.
Yeah, it's honestly shocking, but it's true. Like we are all like we all have a similar mindset when it comes to this. And I believe all producers have a similar mindset. It's like what's the creative mindset,
Yeah.
It's creative people, and then you have like more analytical people. I think creative people are more like give or take emotional in a sense,
Yeah.
When it comes to mental health, creative people are more vulnerable for that being at risk,
I don't know why. I don't know why. And sometimes I may have the answer, but then there are times in which like, oh, I was wrong about it. But I guess it's what you call that vulnerable. Sorry, my English is not my first language, dude. Vulnerability.
Gotcha.
Yeah, okay. As creatives, as creative people, we sometimes have to like lower our defenses down so we could be a little bit more free and have that creative expression. And then that it's when we have our defenses down, our guard down, that's when a lot of the hoo-has happens.
It's also like, I don't know, like a lot of producers a shit ton of time in front of like a computer screen, right?
Yeah.
Like some people like literally stay in their room and just produce for like just like such a long time. And then like kind of one thing that we forget to do, like producers that just spend so much time like isolated, they kind of like forget how to like socialize in a sense, which is kind of sucks. But after like personally, like through COVID, I still like produce a shit ton of time, but like during COVID, I really like produced like a shit ton of time. And then I kind of noticed like in some like situations, I'd be like, why can't I like speak as I used to be able to speak, Like I've lost some of my social skill because of that. And it's interesting.
Yeah, I definitely get you on that. That has happened to me more than once, then which is like, fuck, I don't know how to socialize. Like I kid you not. I have to take a drink for me to be like socially active. It's like, hey, what's going on, everyone? What's up? This is all good. If not, I'll be like the shy guy on the corner.
I guess that's why they call it a social skill.
Yeah,
so it's a skill you got to keep up with, practice, and producing. It kind of like, or sitting in front of a computer producing, it kind of like fades away a little bit there.
I agree. I agree. But speaking about that, about producing on your music, of spending hours and hours, how long does it actually take you to finish one of your projects?
As of recently, like 1 week, but
goddamn,
it used to take me a lot longer, man. Like the only reason why it takes a much shorter period of time right now is because I literally have been having the issue where I always struggle with this. Like, when you sit on a track for so long, the main idea just like slowly starts to change, and just as slowly starts to like just change into a completely new track.
Oh yeah.
And personally for me, because like I used to go back and like just listen to like the renders so much, like private SoundCloud, like just listen in the car and shit everywhere like that. I was slowly starting to get that sound so in tune in my head that I'd go back in the track and actually screw up the mix down to like where I was at a better point. So like my goal is to get the idea out of my head fast as possible and finish the track as fast as like
before you
possible.
Have second thoughts.
Yeah, and if I want to create like a new idea, I'd rather go into a new project rather than like, I'm not saying like I like half-ass the song, but I try not to like overdo it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's ear fatigue. You get easily like fatigue about listening to the same song over and over, and then there are times in which like you don't hear the same way you initially thought that you were hearing it. And then there's times in which you found new problems. It's like, oh shit, I gotta fix this. Oh, I didn't realize that. How come I didn't realize that? How long that shit was there?
Yeah, it's a real thing, man. I've ruined so many tracks because of that.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly why we look up to our homies and tell them, give us feedback, so that way we don't have to like listen to it over and over and go nuts about it.
I agree. It's important to have homies that share feedback with each other in that sense.
Yeah,
as well. Yeah.
Producer homies, not your regular homies.
Yeah. Because the regular homies will say it's good no matter what.
Yes, exactly. And you'll be like, dude, you didn't listen to that, weird frequency that I show on the kick on this minute? Oh, I didn't know there was a frequency. It's not dope.
Yeah, you need that analytical, constructive criticism.
Yes.
You need that.
Absolutely. Now, when you were working with Goon, like how was the creative process behind it? Like, how do you work with collaborations?
So for this project, we worked like through Zoom and kind of bounced the project back and forth to each other through email. And usually well, with this project, Shoplifters, we started out with like one sound, you
Mhm.
know, and we kind of just built the project like whole thing like out of that. Like kind of what we were speaking about before. We
Yeah.
had like this percussive sound, used a bunch of like frequency shifters, some other effects on it, and kind of like
Mhm.
created like a tear out rhythm track just out of that, and then built everything around it. Usually, like with collaborations, the most effect I've personally seen to like get the creative side of both ends is just bouncing the project back and forth, like same render, so that person could pick up where you left off, and vice versa.
And then speaking of that, like, are you always eager and willing to try other genres, especially with other artists?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, but it depends how far you would say, like as I would go with other genres. Like for example, the only genre I really could not see myself doing in the short term, at least, or subgenre within EDM is house music. I was never really a big fan of because I mean some of it's really cool, but it just really never clicked with me as a
Mhm.
genre that I really found too entertaining. And I can't really produce things that I don't find be entertaining. But I would say most other genres in EDM, I would give it a try.
I'm with you on house. Like, I found house very monotonous, man. It's all
Yeah.
repetitive, and there's no excitement.
Yeah,
I
I
don't.
really like that like crazy like change happening.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
how people go nuts by hearing the same drop over and over. Like everybody's like, oh,
Yeah.
so do 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 do.
Let's go to Club Spades on a Saturday.
Oh, seriously. And then you hear everybody go, oh, and I'm like, the fucking kind of shrooms you are, motherfucker. What the fuck is this, bro? It's the same drop I heard for the past hour.
You might be able to get the same song, put it in a set.
And nobody would notice it. Nobody would notice it. I guarantee you, nobody notice it. The same fucking song. Everybody would still be, oh, dude, that's dirty. And then I see the fucking DJs, bro. I see the fucking DJs go.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
You're
Lot of
not
the knob twisting, you know?
not twisting. That's all you're doing. There's no excitement with this shit. How the fucking people are getting so hyped out about it? The house people are gonna come after me, man. They're gonna come after me.
Yeah, they're gonna get us.
Yeah, save yourself, man. I got this. Bass music is for kids. Yeah, well, house sounds the same to me. That's never gonna change.
Can't change our minds. You can't change our minds about that.
Yeah. Well, like anybody will associate anything with house. No, bro, that's tech house. Tech house and techno sound the same to me. I'm sorry. You're changing the BPM, basically.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah, I think someone roasted me about that actually because I was like, there's like a tech house song, and I was like, "Is this techno?" And then they like said, "No, it's tech house," and then just like roasted me about that. I'm like, "Okay, what differentiates it?" And I'm like, and he's like, "Just listen to it." And then he really gave me a solid reason.
That's so stupid. That's like oh my god. Same way as like you know what? If they ask me like, oh, dubstep sound the same, it's like, no, there's a difference. Like, what's the difference? Well, one of them is rhythm, one of them is melodic dubstep, one of them is tear out dubstep, one of them is metal step, one of them is this. And I can tell you the difference. Most of them is BPM related or different in shape, but rhythm does this, melodic dubstep does this, tear out does this, metal step does this.
I actually I'm trying to think okay, so tech house and like going back to tech house and techno, what would be the difference there? What do you think it is?
I will say it has to be the BPM, or maybe not, because I'm pretty sure the BPM is all relatively the same. It's like around the 120. Once you get to 125, that's already deep house. Once you get to 128, that's electro progressive house. Once you get to 130 and 135, that's trance. So it's like I honestly don't know what's the difference of tech house and techno.
Does techno use like those hi-hats between each kick and clap? Yeah, that. Does techno use that? Maybe that's the difference.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe that's like house and tech. Maybe that's the difference.
Maybe techno doesn't use that.
That could be the difference right there.
And tech house does use it because every other house song that I've heard has the.
I think we found it. I think we got it.
There you go. There you go.
There you go, techno people. We found the difference.
Thank you for not helping us. All right. Thank you. We figure you guys out. You guys are literally not that big of a difference. But speaking now about making house music and how uncreative these guys really are, the concept of sound designing. Do you believe that sound designing is a luxury or a necessity for a producer?
I think it's a necessity, honestly, because I mean, like, without sound design, like, what else is like? Because sound design can be like such like a broad spectrum of things,
right? Right.
Like you could sound design like hats, kicks. It's like, so I think it's an absolute necessity because you can't just take the initial Serum preset, put into like a dubstep trap, put on like a MIDI, just all E chord notes, and be like, hey, this is my drop. You need to design that sound into something cool or offer it or whatever VST or synth you use. Like, I think it's an absolute necessity.
I agree, man. I agree. Maybe for the house people, it's not that big of a deal because for them it's just presets and having the nice melodies and whatnot. But for bass producers, however,
we gotta get creative.
You have to be creative. Absolutely.
We gotta.
Like it should it be like your number one priority when you try to learn? I wouldn't say no, but it should be like your top 3.
I think also a big thing, bass music, a really, really, really good producer told me this. He was basically like, he kind of like brought something to my attention that I kind of always believed in, but he kind of reinsured it, that mix downs, believe it or not, I think are some of the most important things when it comes to dubstep. Because like when you're making melodic music, there are like other appealing points to it. You know what I mean? Like you have the melody, you have a lot of cool like attention grabbers, but with dubstep, like unless you mix that down like really, really good and make it sound like really impressive, like what other appealing point will there be with it, you know?
Yeah.
It's like abstract stuff. Like the more like perfect or like cool the mix down is, then the more appealing you can really make it. I really think that's one thing that's like the most important dubstep as well, because you really have a lot of wiggle room with mix down and other genres.
I agree. And I always say this. Bass producer can make house music, but a house producer cannot make bass music.
Yeah, because dubstep is, or bass music is, it's probably the hardest genre to mix out of any genre like in the world.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Exactly.
You're fitting so much into one thing or one song and trying to make so many harmonics and frequencies work with each other simultaneously. And there's really not another genre. Maybe hardstyle. That sounds like a hard genre to mix down as well. But
you're right. You're right.
And metal. Those 3. Bass music, hardstyle, metal. I think those 3 are the top 3, like hardest to mix down out of any other.
Yeah.
Genre.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah, absolutely. Well, we got a few more questions and we can wrap this up, man. This one's actually very important. Why is it that you decided to choose your name No Lie?
This is actually like something that most people don't pick up, but it's actually so basic. So I've always been a huge fan of lions, you know, thought those animals are really cool. Mm-hmm. And No Lie, lion.
Oh, shit. I just figured that out right now. Wow. Wow. You literally flipped the name.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, my God.
So simple, but it's like a very like not obvious thing to pick up unless like
Unless you call
Saying.
it out, yeah.
Yeah.
Man, if you have a brand with that name of No Lie, you should actually have like a Lions, brand.
That's crazy to say that. My old logo, it has. I'm gonna take a screenshot of it real quick because I can't
Yeah.
pull it up. But this was my old logo. I'm currently working on a new logo with something similar to this, but let me know if you can see this screenshot. I'm gonna put it in the Zoom chat. That's like half of it, but it has like a digital lion like thing.
Oh wow, that's rad.
But working on like a more like modern version of that because that's really old. Yeah, the whole thing with No Lie is lion rearranged.
Damn, that's actually smart, man. That's actually
Thank you.
you can definitely, capitalize that, what has been up to now your greatest accomplishment?
In anything in general, or
Yeah, anything in general.
that's a deep question. I would say my greatest accomplishment is I'm going to simply say this because it means a lot to me. Staying in close contact with my brother and being able to create a business with him. That's honestly my greatest accomplishment in my life because I believe being extremely close to family and keeping that connection very close and being able to accomplish something with your family is personally my dream. Like, I love my family and being that close to my brother, see it as my biggest accomplishment.
That's pretty dope, man. I'm happy to hear that. So, what are you currently doing and what do you hope to accomplish by it?
I'm sorry?
But what are you currently doing and what do you hope to accomplish by it?
With what I just talked about or with No Lie?
With No Lie.
So, as I was talking about before, I've essentially restarted the brand with a more professional outlook, hopefully. And so the plan as of now releases every month. And what I hope to accomplish is getting on more show lineups this year, expanding my music to more regions, the world, the United States, and getting my music played out by other artists and just growing as a music producer. And I really want to be on a festival lineup. And that's that would be a goal as of hopefully this year, but if not this year, as soon as possible.
Fuck yeah. Let's make it happen, man. Let's make it happen. One last question and we can end this right here. Let's just say that you're walking down the street and then all of a sudden a UFO pops out of nowhere and some alien shows up to you and says, "Hey, No Lie, we need your help because you and only you can help us right now with our situation." You're like, "All right, let's get it on." They're like, "All right, but before you do, we don't know how long you're gonna be out. Here's our piece of paper. Write 3 pieces of advice that you'll give to someone." What are those 3 pieces of advice?
First piece of advice. Are these 3 pieces of advice for music or just life in general?
It could be both. It could be like one or the other or both.
First piece of advice. Absolutely always follow what you love in life, but make sure you're giving it your all. Second piece of advice. I'll make it music related. Follow the product and passion over the validation. Number 3, keep your family and friends close.
Very important. Absolutely. Hey, and I can vouch for that because, if it wasn't for my family and friends, I wouldn't be where I am right now. Moving from a small island my whole life and then moving to Miami to pursue my career, it wasn't easy. And it wasn't for the help of my family and friends to always be there and support me no matter what, I wouldn't be where I am right now. So it's definitely grateful. And always spend time with your family and friends as much as possible because you never know when it's the last time,
You never know. It's very true.
Yeah. Well, dude, thank you so much for coming over to the show, man. It's an honor and privilege for you to come over, man. You're a friend of the show, man. You are more than welcome to come over whenever you feel like it, and we can do another one and just kick it. Before we leave, plug yourself out. Let the people know where they can follow you and what they can expect from you.
All right. Well, all my social media and everything is at no_lie_music. And my SoundCloud at no_lie. Releases each month will be coming to my platforms. And on May 5th, I have a release with Goon Music, Shoplifters. That'll be coming out pretty soon. And yeah, just expect a ton of new music. And thanks for having me on, Matt. Seriously, it's been a pleasure.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Well, thank you for coming over to the show. And thank you guys for listening. And remember, every week is a brand new episode with a brand new topic. So always remember to like and subscribe and click the bell for notification at youtube.com/The Lone Wolv Podcast or lonewolfpod.com. That's lone, WOLV pod.com, where you can check all my latest episodes. For the audio version, you can check it out at SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio at Wolves and Music or the Lone Wolv Podcast. Comment down below. Let me hear your thoughts. Share your experiences. If you guys got a specific topic that you want me or no like to cover it, please let us know in the comments down below, and we'll do our best to cover it on the next episode. So thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you guys in the next one. Deuces.